What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing another movie review today. We watched the Autopsy of Jane Doe recently.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a crazy movie. So we'll kind of just be talking about our thoughts and feelings. I think that movie came out in 2016 or something. So we're a bit behind on that one, but it's new to us.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it,
Yeah, it's a horror movie, fair warning.
Oh, so, yes, it is a horror movie.
It is scary. It's a
Spoiler
horror.
alerts. Yeah. If you've seen it, I'm sure you were also scared.
Well, basically, we got put onto this movie by one of Sid's friends, and we decided that we would check it out and see how it was, because we've been in this horror movie kick a little bit. We saw Backrooms, we saw Obsession. Obsession was unbelievable. So we were kind of in this like mode of like watching, scary movies. We watched The Substance recently. You could watch our video on that. So we've been into these scary movies, and The Diary of Jane Doe was another one that we got. Autopsy of Jane Doe was another one that we were recommended, so we decided to check it out, and
it did not disappoint.
Yeah, it really
didn't.
It really didn't.
We were not really sure. We didn't really watch a trailer or anything, but one of my friends said it scared her boyfriend out of watching scary movies altogether. So we were like, let's see what it's about.
That bad. We didn't think it was that bad.
It was scary. And my thing is, I'm anticipating the fear. I'm anticipating the scary parts. So I do cover my eyes. I do, because I don't want to be scared like that.
There are certain things that they're hard to see. For
and
me, it's like the crunching of like joints and ligaments and stuff. That's not my favorite.
See, and I don't really like mirrors. I don't really like mirrors with jump scares like that, because I personally have a fear of looking in the mirror in the dark. So I don't really want to exacerbate that fear. So anytime I see a mirror in movies, I know something scary is going to happen with said mirror, and I will cover my eyes. So I personally did not get scared out of watching scary movies, because I know my
your limits.
I know my limits, and I'll cover my eyes, and I'll ask Millie. I'll be like, "What happened?" So it'll be more of our scary movie.
Facts. He was recently got Sid into scary movies. So the Autopsy of Jane Doe, it started off kind of like at a crime scene, basically a very gruesome crime scene, and the cops are like, what happened here? It's like very unclear what's happened in this household. All of these people have very dramatic and unrelated injuries and deaths.
Like crazy, gruesome. Like you don't really know what happened. There's like 10 people.
It's a ton of people. And then they get down to the basement, and there's one body down there, but it is fully untouched. So all of the other bodies have crazy injuries from their dramatic deaths and stuff like that. But there's just one body that's in the basement perfectly fine.
They were like digging it up out of the ground. I don't know if one of the dogs found it or something like that. Something, and then it was dug up.
So basically the body was like essentially buried underneath the house.
No decomposition, no injuries that they could find, but nothing.
And they didn't understand what happened. So essentially, because the police chief is trying to get some sort of information to the public, whatever, he essentially rushes this unknown body over to the morgue where they are doing like the autopsies.
Right. And so like the morgue, the main characters, it's like this guy and his dad. His dad owns the morgue, and he's kind of like an apprentice, basically. He's like learning the trade, learning about how to dissect the bodies and figure out what was the cause of death. And they were like, we need you to figure out what caused this woman to die, because we literally can't see anything.
And mind you, like the son was on his way out. He had a date.
The dad was on his way out.
The dad was too.
The dad was on his way out. The son was like, I'm cleaning up, like I'll take care of this. And the dad was leaving. He was like out the door. But the girlfriend had showed up.
And the girlfriend showed up and wanted to like see a dead body and all of these weird things.
So
like,
weird.
Super
First
weird.
of all, why do you want to see them pull a dead body out of like the the ice,
the
whatever.
boyfriend's wheels were turning.
He was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
but that's when the dad popped back up. And we were like, why is the dad back?
Yeah. And the dad was essentially like, oh, go ahead. Like, let her see it.
Yes.
Like, all that stuff. So it was kind of weird. But essentially, the girlfriend had come to pick him up for this movie. And in the time she was there, the police chief rolled in with this Jane Doe body and was just like, hey, we have this crazy crime story at this house. We really need something to tell the public by tomorrow morning. I know it's late, but please, can you work on this body? And so the dad, of course, he's got nothing going on. He's just like, yep, sure, gotta get done, whatever, gotta do it. And essentially, the son is like debating it because he has the date, the girlfriend's there,
movies,
he's got this pressure, and the dad is just like, go, like I don't want you here if you don't want to be here. You don't, I don't need you here. Like you can go. But the kid should have just left. The kid kisses the girlfriend, walks her out, decides he wants to stay and do this,
and says, "Come back at 11 p.m."
Right, he did tell her that.
Come back at 11 p.m. Yeah, and then we'll go to the movies.
Yep, that's what he told her. So anyway, they start getting into this. They start this autopsy.
Yes, okay. And what really bothered me, because they were about to start cutting into her, they opened her eyes. Because they were like opening the eyes, checking the mouth, seeing like what's going on. Yeah. And they didn't shut the eyes back down.
Yeah, the eyes being open was crazy.
Put the eyes back down, and that bothered me the entire movie.
You just see these
every
white,
time,
glazed over
gray,
eyes.
Like staring up at nothing, and every time they popped up, I'm like, can we please shut the eyes?
Yeah, it was just like kind of a weird thing that we didn't understand. God. Like, guys, there's no way this isn't uncomfortable for you guys, having this woman look back at you while you're
please, she's staring up like.
But yeah, it was nuts. But essentially, before they started making the first incision, like the radio popped on, like like it's
playing like some old like creepy kind of
music. Essentially, like in a way, like the son kind of keyed in on it right away, but he was like really weirded out by it, and he said to his dad, I believe at that point, like it doesn't want us to cut into her or something, or I don't know if that came up. I don't know if it came up later, but he could tell essentially that the body did not want to be autopsied.
Okay.
Essentially.
Dang, I did not pick up on that. That's
the son was really weirded out.
Wow.
By it. He picked up on that. Like
yes, because then the storm.
Right,
the alleged storm.
Yeah, you were hearing reports on the radio about some storm that was blowing in, essentially like shut down the roads and all this stuff.
Yes, and then like at the end of the thing, before they switched it back to music or whatever, it was like, one thing I can tell you is you're not going anywhere. And we were like, what do you mean by that?
Exactly. Yeah, there was like some creepy like foreshadowing moments, but then it was just like. They had a lot of dark hallways in the autopsy like building.
And the mirror, the little like, you know, when you're driving and you see a mirror where it lets you look around a corner that you can't really see. It was like that.
It was one of those mirrors. Yeah.
I didn't watch when that mirror popped up. I was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Not watching that part.
But yeah, that part was pretty messed up. But essentially, now we're going to get into some spoilers now. So if you haven't seen the film, this is your opportunity to stop, pause, go watch it, and come back. Yeah. Otherwise, no.
Or if you want spoilers, if you're not planning to watch the movie, but also you're like, I've heard of this, then you're in the right place.
Yeah, but essentially, the Jane Doe ended up being a witch. So she was a witch. We don't know exactly what her origin is per se.
I think they said something about like the witch trials.
Right,
like Salem witch trials or something.
I do remember they said that, but I think the dad was like, oh, that was just mass hysteria. Like that wasn't real. Like it was just a bunch of innocent girls and stuff like that. But yeah, essentially Jane Doe was disproving his theory because she had like all these weird markings on the inside of her.
Yes, which, they like skinned her basically and opened up her like shell, I guess, and like on the inside it was all these
markings, and then they found some fabric. I forget where they found the fabric, but somewhere they found some fabric that had some insignia. It was in her stomach. That's right. It was in some mesh inside of her stomach or something. And they were able to like look at the insignia. I believe there was something in there. I can't remember.
Yeah. There was something. A tooth.
A tooth.
It was a tooth wrapped in like some woven
fabric.
Yeah.
So that was
which
definitely
also had markings and stuff on it.
And I mean, obviously, most people aren't really privy to what happens at an autopsy, but obviously, it is the very traditional where they cut those lines across your chest and then cut down, and then they open up the cavity.
Bleeding like crazy.
And they commented on that because obviously a dead body shouldn't be bleeding like that because the heart isn't pumping blood. But when they cut into her, she started leaking blood,
literally,
which was
like
crazy,
going down, gushing, like so
on
much
the tables,
blood.
like hitting the drain and stuff. But essentially, as they started disturbing her body, all of these weird things started happening throughout the autopsy center. So it was like the other bodies came back from the dead and were like haunting them. So there was a couple instances where they played on that mirror in the hallway, and we'd see like the shadowy figure at the end of the hallway, like looking. Oh man,
I wouldn't watch that part because I hate it. See, because I don't want. My brain will just be like, oh, this is going to happen to you. And then I'll go to the bathroom at night and I'm like, I can't look at the mirror.
Yeah. So that part was like pretty crazy because some of the other bodies that were in the morgue had also had pretty graphic deaths.
Yes.
So some of those people wandering around, banging on the doors, chasing them around, they did a really good job of creating that suspense and fear with the darkness, with the smoke. But essentially what they figured out was that she was a witch who was manipulating all of these things happening around them because they had messed with her body.
Literally, like she was pissed.
She was unhappy. But
she was like kind of almost like preserved in that state.
Exactly.
And I guess her spirit or like the magic coming out of her was causing all these gruesome things to be happening.
And the dad essentially eventually pieces it together and understands that she's suffering and had been suffering for a long time, and he essentially offers himself to her, like, you know, take my life, spare my kid, but take my life, and, you know, whatever. Which she did. She basically. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say before this, because that's when the dad dies, right? That was when he dies. But I'm like, then you know, the girlfriend died. He murdered the girlfriend by accident because he like all of these dead bodies. Like it was kind of one of those things where you don't really know what's real
happening or what's not happening. Because like they definitely, from what the viewer saw, got chased down the hallway by one of these dead bodies, and they rushed onto the elevator and were trying to get the elevator to go up.
Right.
And in the process, the thing was getting to the elevator. And so the dad grabbed the weapon they had and like swings through the elevator.
Like an axe or something.
Like an axe. And lo and behold,
it was the girlfriend, and because she was supposed to come back at 11 p.m. But there was this alleged thunderstorm that was not actually happening.
So for them, they're hearing like all these sounds of this storm. They're hearing it on the radio.
The sun tried to run out, and there was a tree that was
blocking the
exit. Blocking the exit.
They couldn't get out. They were like trapped in this place to what they thought. Because they thought the storm had fallen a tree and blocked them in.
Right.
So the dad had tried to call the sheriff and was like, hey, there's a crazy storm. A tree's down. We need you to come get us out immediately.
Please help us.
Yeah, they were panicking at that point. And like, lo and behold, there was no storm.
The service was cutting out. They couldn't really get anything across.
Exactly.
Like the sheriff had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And there was no storm.
Yeah.
There was no storm.
No storm at all. So the girlfriend had gotten back down in there. The dad killed her thinking she was one of the reanimated zombie corpses.
Right.
And so the boyfriend is sitting there crying and upset over the body. But of course, there are actual creatures around.
Yes. So then like they had to run back to whatever room, and then
because it was starting to smoke.
Then the dad had gotten like attacked.
Right, because the witch essentially, she used her power to start back up the incinerator, and then the door popped open, so then smoke was starting to fill the place because she was originally going to burn it down. But then they started going back, and then the hallway was filled with smoke. So then there was creatures in the smoke.
I didn't like that.
Dad got attacked. You just couldn't see anything. It was just like, it was like a frenzy.
Because like the first casualty at the morgue was the cat, because the cat could sense that she was kind of like an evil spirit, and like was growling at her, and they were like, get out of here or whatever. But then the cat was like in the vents, and she somehow killed the cat, and he cremated the cat.
Yep.
And then that was like,
how the incinerator.
Yes.
So it was pretty it was pretty interesting because the witch's power was very subtle. You couldn't really see it, but it was clearly impacting the things that were going on, because not only did they not know what was real or what was fake, but there were also these bodies and this smoke and the darkness that was really haunting, like throughout the film.
Super haunting.
Yeah.
See, I know when to look away.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a jump scare coming.
And so, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's such a good motive to have, honestly, in my opinion. But the dad figured out kind of what was going on with the witch. He sacrificed himself to her, hoping that his son would make it out. And in the process, the witch essentially drained him of life.
Because his eyes started turning gray like hers were. Like, you could tell she was doing to him what was done to her.
Exactly, yeah. And then, like, all of the blood started sucking back up into her body. Her skin started healing, like, all of those things.
Then she was still dead.
Right, yeah, it was
so
crazy.
Weird.
So after she absorbed the dad, it didn't bring her back to life. She was just like a normal corpse again. Like, no autopsy had happened.
Right, like nothing. Like, she sealed back up, all the blood literally like soaked back up into her body.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch this part, but you said because the son was trying to escape.
Right.
And then when he was trying to escape, when he like turned around or something, wasn't it like the dad's?
Yeah.
Like,
so the son went back up, like after this happened, he went back up to the exit and was trying to like push on the door some more. But then he kind of got the inkling that something was coming up behind him. We kind of got that camera angle too that let us know that something was coming up behind him. And then he like turned around and there was nothing there. So then he turned back to the door to try and open it again, and then it jump scared with the dad being standing right there. And then the dad pushed him over the edge, and he fell back and also died.
Everyone died.
Everyone died. But that's what happened at this crime scene at the start of the movie.
Literally everybody was dead. It was like 10 bodies in this house. And like, I think I remember at the beginning of the movie, and it's similar to this, where like people were trying to escape. It was like at the beginning when they were reviewing the crime scene, it was like, it doesn't look like a breaking and entering. It looks like people were trying to get out of the house.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was the same thing with this, where like they were trying to leave the morgue, and then they couldn't. And then it showed the police showing up the next morning.
Yep. There was no tree down.
There was no tree down. The like weather report was like, we really need some rain out here. It's been a drought for blah, blah, blah. And we're like, that wasn't it.
Yeah, but we're like, there's a storm.
The last
but that's when you start realizing that things that were happening weren't actually happening.
Yeah, you're kind of piecing the things together yourself. And then you're like, wait, that's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, basically the police got there and found the exact same thing. 3 dead bodies, gruesome like happenings happening to them, and then this perfectly preserved body that had not been autopsied at all.
Yes, literally, because they were also recording the autopsies, and she made sure that that camera got burnt.
Yeah, the camera burned.
It burned, and there was no evidence of that. And then the sheriff was like, they were saying, one of the officers or something was like, should we have the body moved? And he was like, get that thing out of my county. Get that thing out of here. And it showed the person who was driving the body somewhere else. That song from the beginning popped onto the radio.
Yeah.
We were like, oh.
Yeah. Essentially highlighting that the witch still had her power and was still in there. So wherever she was going, the same pattern was going to happen again, 100%. So yeah, that was a film.
That was honestly like I didn't watch some of the scary parts for personal reasons. But I thought it was like a really good film. I thought the storyline was really good, and like I just feel like morgues generally are scary, and like kind of, I mean, there's another movie with morgue.
Oh, really? Okay.
Or something that I wouldn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. But I don't know. That's just a scary setting to be in generally, because like you're not only dissecting bodies to try and figure out what the cause of death was, you're also like storing dead bodies.
Right. Yeah. So definitely like a 2-part thing there.
I don't like it.
So I think
just the thought of it really gives me the heebie-jeebies.
But overall, like, I think they did a good job. Like, you know, I would have loved to get more witch backstory.
Me
would have
too.
potentially loved to see her come to life, to see, you know, what havoc she would want to wreak on like the current world.
Right. She like absorbed the dad's life force. So
exactly.
what happened with that?
Yeah.
Or was that what allowed her to like soak the blood back up?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know.
So they didn't really make those elements clear, but I think what they did do really well was really build that suspense, that fear, with the hallways, with the corners, with the smoke, where, you know, you couldn't really predict what was happening, but you could just kind of see just enough to know that something scary was happening. And I think they did a good job with that. It was
do a good
true
job.
Scary film.
That movie was scary.
Yeah,
I will give that to them.
Yeah. So I guess
what's your rating
on your? I was just about to ask you that. So, so on like a scary rating, what would you give the Autopsy of Jane Doe?
I would say I'd give it like an 8.
Okay.
To be honest, since I didn't watch a lot of the parts because they seem scary. I'd go back and watch now because I know how it ends.
Valid.
What about you?
I think for scariness, I'm gonna go with a 7.
Okay.
I think it was definitely like scary. They built suspense and all of those things. I think some of the gruesome graphic nature, they kind of shielded us from that. And so, you know, it probably wasn't as maybe gruesome as it could have been. We didn't really see too much of the reanimated bodies. They only popped up a couple times.
Yeah, that's true.
We heard them like banging on doors and stuff, but didn't actually see them like grabbing or clawing at the people.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think because of those elements and because of like, for me, lacking a little bit of the storyline with the witch and like those things, I would put it out of 7. I think it was definitely scary. It's going to make you jump. It's going to make you get the creepy crawlies. And that's what you want from a scary movie, right?
Yeah.
So I think it did a good job of those key elements.
Yeah,
for
I
me,
agree.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you. So those were our thoughts on the Autopsy of Jane Doe, a scary movie that we watched recently.
Yes, if you made it this far.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Peace.
Bye.